the federal government and the organized labor have agreed on an increase on the 62,000 naira minimum wage.
Join
Ayodeji AJISOPE
and
Adedamola LAFENWA
on from the dailies every weekday from 9:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. on Solutions 93.9 FM as they dive into the headlines with in-depth analysis and feedback from you on different stories from the national dailies. Start your day by gaining fresh perspectives, uncovering the story behind the story, and join the conversation. Because your voice matters. From the dailies, the conversation never stops.
All right, a beautiful morning to our esteemed listener, wherever you are listening to your number one radio dial right now. Solutions 93.9 FM. Studio time check 9:33 on 939. My name is Adedamola LAFENWA, and with so much pleasure, I welcome you to the From the Dailies program where we get to take you through the major stories in some of today's national dailies. And as usual, I have a comrade, Ayodeji AJISOPE, but this morning he's joining me virtually. Together we'll be running the stories, and he'll be giving us his own perspectives on each of the stories that will be talked about this morning. A beautiful morning to you, comrade Ayodeji AJISOPE.
A great Wednesday morning to you, my dear comrade brother, and our listeners and viewers, wherever they may be.
Mm-hmm. All right, comrade. It came out in the news yesterday that once again, for the fifth time in this year alone, the CBN has geared up the interest rate, that is, which we call the money policy rate, and virtually all the papers have that story this morning. And looking at the papers I have this morning, I have the Nigerian Tribune, I have the Guardian, I have the Punch newspaper, and of course the Vanguard newspaper. Taking my first shot at the Nigerian Tribune, concerns as CBN raises interest rate to 27.25%, and there are riders, manufacturers to continue paying high interest rate. Tightening of MPC detrimental to investment economic growth, CCPE. And another one says, Naxima expresses concern, lists impact on businesses, inflation. Over 4 million Nigerians unemployed in 2023. NBS. That story is found on page 5 of the Nigerian Tribune. Tinubu declines assent, returns bill on new retirement age for National Assembly workers. That story is found on page 3 of the Nigerian Tribune. Adeleke reduces work days for Osun workers, extends palliative payment. Page 2. Dangote advocates total fuel subsidy removal. And this is Dangote now saying that he wants the subsidy to be totally removed. And the right under that caption says, Pengerson to FG, increase your shareholding in Dangote refinery to 45%. Page 6 of the Nigerian Tribune has that story. Tinubu sends Kekere Ekun's name 21 RMAFC commissioners to Senate for confirmation. And this is talking about Biafra now. Biafra. Justice Nyako withdraws from Nnamdi Kano's trial. That story is found on page 30 of the Nigerian Tribune. And the last one I'll be taking from the Nigerian Tribune says, Edo election, observers should not usurp INEC roles. APC carpet Yaga Africa. And moving away from the Nigerian Tribune, let's take a look at the Vanguard newspaper. Unemployment up by 5.3% as CBN hikes interest rate to 27.25%. And riders, interest rate hike detrimental to investment, economic growth, experts. Cost of funds will be further exacerbated. Naxima president. Banks, financial institutions may witness more bad debt. Asburn, unemployment reality on ground is far worse. So many riders under that particular headline there. And UNGA, U.S. Chamber of Commerce votes $320 million for mortgage financing SMEs, others in Nigeria. Deny ties with banditry by swearing on Quran. Matawali challenges Zamfara governor, General Gusau. There's been a war of words between Bello Matawali and Dauda Lawal, who is the sitting governor of Zamfara state. And Bello Matawali is the former governor, the immediate past governor of Zamfara state. There has been a war of words between the two individuals in recent weeks. Away from that, reactions trail Dangote's call for petrol subsidy removal. Edopol, why INEC must probe officials involved in rigging. Yaga Africa. And away from the Nigerian Tribune, let's take a look at the Punch newspaper. Looking at the Punch newspaper, the first story that caught my attention was talking about Tinubu seeking debt forgiveness for Nigeria at the UNGA 79th summit. UNGA 79, Tinubu seeks debt forgiveness for Nigeria. That story is found on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. Banditry, Zamfara governor reports defense minister to NSA. Page 20 of the Punch newspaper has that story. Edo, APC dismisses poll fraud. Police recover stolen beavers. And looking at the biggest story on the front page of the Punch newspaper, there's a beautiful Wednesday morning. Subsidy. FG may spend 236 billion naira monthly on imported Dangote petrol. And away from that, new interest rate may worsen bad loans. Organized private sector. Page 7 of the Punch newspaper has that story. Kanu, court drama as George steps down. We'll talk about that particular story in the course of the program this morning. Let me take the Guardian newspaper's account now. Growing jobless, self-employed Nigerians deem tax potential. Tinubu advocates multilateralism. Permanent UNSC seat, debt forgiveness. Okay, MPR concerns over job cuts, food hike as CBN says nation not yet out of the woods. Okay, Comrade DJ Shokwe, a beautiful morning to you once again.
Yes, once again, beautiful morning to you, my dear comrade brother.
Now, it's time to get your perspective on some of the stories now we've read out. Now, let's take a look at the first story, talking about the CBN increasing the interest rate once again. The Central Bank of Nigeria has further raised its monetary policy rate, MPR, by 50 basis points to 27.25% from 26.75% to moderate inflation, which stands at 32.15%. Now, Comrade Odija Shokwe, this is about the fifth time the CBN is coming out to gear up the interest rate. Now, do we say that coming out in the last 3 or 4 months and gearing it up for more than 5 times now, is this policy yielding fruitful result?
Well, this has become an instrument the CBN has decided and they are resolved to aggressively deploy until they get the desired result. What are the things we have? NPR, okay, 27.25%. This means loans from banks are likely to become more expensive. And then commercial banks, it also means commercial banks must now hold 50% of their deposit in reserve CBN. What is the implication of this? Okay, merchant banks will do 16%. What is the implication of this? If you hold 50% of your deposit in reserve with the central bank, you will have reduced amount of money to lend out. You understand? If your deposit is 500 billion and you have 500 million as a deposit in central bank, you have only 500 million to loan out. Then there's also the issue of liquidity ratio. They are also expected to keep 30% of their total deposits in liquid assets like cash or government bonds. This is to ensure that they have enough money to meet short-term obligations. Well, 500 basic points. What is the target? Because there must be a target, you understand? I think the target, one of the targets is to attract foreign investment.
Now, the concern on the minds of Nigerians now, why increasing it 5 times in the last 4 months or thereabout, if it is truly yielding the desired result? And for every time it is being increased or being geared up, Nigerians, especially manufacturers, kept on complaining that it is crippling or strangulating their businesses.
Well, because the manufacturers will have to borrow to conduct their business. And you see, what is the intention? I think one of the biggest problems of Nigeria is foreign exchange. And the government is resolute on attracting foreign investment so that we'll have liquidity in foreign exchange. So this is one of the main targets. This is one of the main targets of increasing NPR. And of course, the other target, which is fundamental, is controlling inflation. The big question is it controlling inflation?
That is the question. Has it been given positive results? I mean, has it been able to control inflation? Inflation has been on the rise in the past how many months now? And they kept on increasing this NPR over and over again.
So that is the big question. Is this having the desired impact when it comes to the management of inflation? They are saying yes. They're saying yes, that they're seeing positive signs in that regard.
They seem to be the only ones. They seem to be the only ones in quotes seeing the positive side, saying yes, because Nigerians out there, manufacturers out there, who are also key players in the economy, are complaining.
The markets that you and I patronize are saying something else.
Definitely.
Contrary to what the government or the central bank is claiming. But it is clear that they are resolute and they are insistent that that is the route that they are going to go.
Without minding the adverse effect it is having on the Nigerians and the other key players.
It is apparent that they are insistent and they are resolute about that. I mean, it is so apparent that that is the way. And of course, managing inflation, and they desperately need foreign exchange. This government desperately needs foreign exchange. That is a major issue.
At the expense of Nigerians?
They desperately. Well, we will get to that. When we get to that, you will see that we're not out of the woods yet with the issue of the PMS.
Actually, talking about being out of the wood, the CBN governor made that statement yesterday saying that the nation is not yet out of the woods. When are we going to be out of the woods? Because all the policies being brought out by the CBN, it seems only the CBN and the key players, they are the ones seeing the results. Nigerians are not seeing the results. So when are we going to be out of the woods?
The dynamics of our economy. You see, there was a time we had a buffer. What I mean by a buffer is that we were insulated. You will recall that when there was an global economic meltdown, it practically did not affect Nigeria. Before it came, Soludo was the CBN governor. He had made sure that there was recapitalization between 2005 and 2006. And then we had reserves. We had built reserves, foreign exchange reserves over a period of time. So when the storm came, it it did not affect us here. You saw how it affected America. But we do not enjoy such buffer anymore. In 2010, when we had made all the money Obasanjo made, you understand? Yar'Adua continued to, and then when they started their political shenanigans, the Nigerian Governors Forum, led by Amechi, as instigated by other governors, and of course, even the members of this administration, you understand? They went to court, share the money, and then the buffer was blown away. Okonjo-Iweala, you will recall, was shouting. They said, no, any money that comes in must be shared. That is what the Federal Account Allocation Commission, Federal Account Allocation is all about. You share the money, everything that comes in.
Actually,
you must not save. Have you ever seen the people that do not save a nation?
Comrade, actually, at the meeting yesterday, I was talking about the Monetary Policy Committee meeting, which was held by the CBN yesterday. The CBN governor, Olayemi Cardoso, actually made a statement blaming the harsh economy we're experiencing now on the policies being introduced by the immediate past central bank governor, that is Godwin Emefiele. He made mention of the fact that Emefiele's policy supported printing more money, which brought more money, too much money into circulation, and that is why we are where we are at the moment. What do you make out of that?
That money was mopped up in December 2023. Was it not mopped up 2022? Was it not mopped up? All the money was mopped up. You understand? But let me tell you this. You see, all the money that is causing trouble in this country is not in Naira. The cash that is causing the problem is in foreign exchange, especially the US dollar. Those who saw the way things were going, they knew the way things were going, and they bought up US dollars. People are holding billions, and I mean billions and billions of dollars in cash. Look at what happened the other day. I mean, some years ago, even the National Intelligence Agency was holding cash. You understand? You're not supposed to be holding all of these agency accounts. Well, you need it, you go and pick it up in the central bank. Even the National Intelligence Agency, I think, was it for 2 million or something? Or $4.5 million. Everybody's just holding dollars. And that is in Nigeria. It is not the US dollar, it's not a legal tender. And these are things that are just really, really way out. Yes, of course. What do you call that one? Emefiele. Emefiele just resorted to the easiest way out, and that was printing. You just print more money, like they did in Uganda, and of course, like they were doing in Zimbabwe too. And of course, the currency of such a country will become totally worthless. That is just the trajectory. That is the way it goes.
Okay, now, because we are still talking about the economy, at the United Nations General Assembly, the 7th and 9th edition, Tinubu actually sent because he's been represented by the Vice President, Kashim Shettima, at the summit, and Tinubu is asking or seeking debt forgiveness for Nigeria. What do you make out of that?
When I saw that at the hunger session, I said, wow, Nigeria again. You see, how did we, there's nothing bad about borrowing. But you see, when you borrow, look at some of the projects that the Buhari administration executed.
With the borrowed money.
With borrowed money. They went to borrow money to construct a rail line from Kano to Maradi. They went to borrow money to construct a rail line.
Comrade, for the sake of Nigerians listening that don't know where Maradi is, probably you should let us know where Maradi is.
Maradi is in Nigeria Republic.
Okay. I just wanted you to see it out.
And Kano is in Nigeria.
Okay.
They went to borrow money to construct a rail line from Warri to Itakwe to Ajaokuta. That rail line was never designed to be a commercial rail line. When it was originally designed in the late 70s, it was designed to serve Ajaokuta and where steel and all of that was coming from. Yet we do not have a functional steel complex. Yet they went to borrow money to construct that rail line. They went to borrow money to construct a rail line from Ibadan to Abeokuta, Ibadan to Lagos, that will run through Abeokuta and take 3 hours to get to Lagos. Which of those rail lines will pay its way back? Now, even the Lagos-Ibadan rail line cannot pay its way back. If it were running between Ibadan and Lagos on the corridor of the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, you can be sure that it will pay its way back.
Definitely.
But if it runs through Abeokuta, I'm not going to take such a ride, except I'm going on a leisure ride. You understand?
Why would you want to go to Lagos and spend 3 more hours on the road? On rail, when you can easily get there a maximum of 1 hour, few minutes.
Exactly. You understand? Why would I do that? So it is not commercially viable. That is the challenge with all the borrowings we did. Even the ones that are supposed to be viable, the execution, you understand? The execution of those projects has left us, shortchanged. Yet, we must pay back. And when our lack of, commitment, our lack of prudence, our lack of efficiency now puts us in debt that is overhanging and plunging us into penury, we now go to start begging for forgiveness. The last time we went to beg for forgiveness during the Obasanjo's regime, when we were forgiving our debts, we were forgiving our debts with conditions. And I will never forget one of those things. That was the period Nigeria was going to do the national identity card. And France, of course, the Paris Club, if it is Paris Club, it is led by the French. You understand?
Definitely.
And it's a French company. Nigeria was going to execute its national identity project. And the French company was bidding to be a part of it. And it did not qualify for a bid. And the French president phoned Nigeria's president and said, forget it. If Sergeant, I will mention him, if Sergeant does not get that contract, forget about their forgiveness. And Nigeria weighed his option. And we gave the contract to Sergeant. Sergeant that did not pre-qualify by the standards of the Bureau of Public Enterprise. They had to give it to Sergeant. And, so those are the way, those are the things that happen in the processes. Of course, the thing is weighed against us, but rather than being efficient.
Now, with all this huge amount of money being borrowed by Nigeria from international bodies, now, is there nobody, a kind of institution that should oversee how these monies are being spent to know that the viable projects to spend this huge amount of money on? We have refineries that have been dead for many years now. Why are those monies not being channeled to those reviving those viable projects?
Have you forgotten that, Jakuta?
Is there no institution to oversee? To carry out a kind of oversight function of this monies being borrowed?
Office of Debt Management.
Okay.
Even before you get the loan, it is scrutinized. Even before Nigeria procures any loan, it goes to the Senate. And during the Buhari era, you saw, except during the era of what do you call this man, Saraki, that it got scrutiny. They just pass it. They do what they call the needful. The needful is that the necessary agencies of government. Look at
that particular rail project from Katsina to Maradi in Niger Republic was approved, as in passed through the Senate.
It passed through the Senate,
and they gave it the approval.
they get approval. The ministry, look at it, the ministry will come. The ministry of, what do you call it? The ministry of transport, Amici will come. Amici has been a speaker. Amici has been a governor.
Questions were not raised about the viability of such projects. What is Nigeria standing to benefit from a country like Niger Republic?
Question will not be raised because Amici has been a speaker, has been a governor, was a minister, and he knew what to do with the members of the Senate. He knew what to do. He knew how to, apart from saying the president is interested in this, the president has interest. He will also show his own interest by greasing palms. That is the way this thing goes.
Watering the ground in courts.
Exactly.
I understand.
And you see, that leaves us whose interest is uppermost in their minds. These rail lines, are they serving the interests of Nigerians? You take a rail line through Abeokuta, when a rail line can run on the corridor of the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, you understand? And run to Lagos in just 1 hour, 10 minutes, and probably less. Because it will be going at steady speed, it won't be braking, you understand? It won't be applying brakes like the vehicles running on the road. If it is going even at 60 kilometers per hour, 70 kilometers per hour, it will get to Lagos faster than those vehicles who are going at 100 kilometers per hour, because it will not be stopping at all. We didn't do that. We decided to take, they had to construct an additional rail line, additional lane, for it to get a dual something. You understand? And at huge cost. And it was so celebrated.
And bought more, the locomotives too. Talking about the vehicles. I mean, how do I put it? The trains now.
The coaches.
The coaches. Yes, I was looking for that word.
These things are worrisome, and yes, we must pay, and we are borrowing even more.
All right. Okay, let's digress a bit from the economy for now. Though we'll still go back to it when we talk about it. Okay, probably we should just talk about it once and for all now. Dangote is advocating for the total removal of fuel subsidy. What will be the implication of this on his own refinery and on the part of the marketers and we the Nigerians too?
Well, there's been a hide and seek between NPC and Dangote on the price of PMS. Somebody had told me even before they came out that Dangote's cost of production was around 1,000 naira. And of course, Dangote said to Bloomberg that he was selling PMS to NNPC at a cheaper price than what they were importing it. The landing cost of PMS imported by NNPC is 1,117 naira. That is 1,200. Dangote was selling at I think 890 something according to NNPC itself, but it was selling to major marketers at 776. That is a subsidized rate. You understand?
Yeah.
For it to get to the retail end of NNPC itself and the major marketers at 850 something or 880 something. You understand? So because they will build their margins, the cost, logistics, the little profits and everything. So there's a subsidy, 140 something naira per liter subsidy that is still ongoing. I'm considering what NNPC buys from Dangote, but it is still cheaper than the imported version. And the ridiculous part of it is that it is only the major marketers that get it at that price. Other people get it, the IPMAN. That is why IPMAN members are selling at 1,100, 1,200. The last time I bought petrol, I think it was a Saturday or Sunday morning, I bought it 1,100 because I did not buy from a major marketer. The major marketers are Mobil, Total, and all of that. So, until they remove this. If they remove the subsidy, and Dangote is doing 25 million liters per day now, that is not going to meet our needs. We do not know what our needs are because we don't have exact figures. But they say our needs is between 45 and whatever, and slightly below that.
Some Nigerians are raising some speculations that probably for Dangote to have said that subsidy should be removed totally, is he not trying to clamor for, create an opportunity for him to be able to sell at exorbitant price to Nigerians?
What exorbitant price? The one Dangote sold to NNPC, or has been selling to NNPC every day since Sunday 15th of September. He sold in dollar denomination. You understand?
Now, okay, go ahead, please.
Yeah, he sold at a cost that was profitable to him. He wasn't selling at a loss. He sold at a cost profitable to him. He's a businessman. He sold with his own margin. You understand? Yes, probably taking into consideration the Nigerian market. Exorbitant price, no, the man will not subsidize Nigeria. The man will sell at a rate that is that will cover his cost and profit. And of course, if they are not willing to buy, the man has markets in Europe and Asia. He has markets because he's producing high quality stuff, and he has capacity.
Now,
buyers will want to buy from somebody who has capacity.
All right. One of the things Dangote mentioned during that statement was that let me just read. He said, I think it is the right time to take away the subsidy because all countries have gotten rid of it. And he made mention of places like Saudi Arabia, that Saudi Arabia, they are even buying more. As in, the Saudi Arabians are paying more to get this fuel than what we are even crying out that we are buying it for in Nigeria.
You see, if Saudis are paying more, there are other ways that their lives are subsidized.
God bless you for that statement. Now, there's a reaction to that. Donyo Kukpe reacted to that statement coming from Dangote. He said, with utmost respect, I disagree with Aliko Dangote on his suggestion that government should completely end the subsidy now. He said, petrol is the economic oxygen of Nigerians, whether rich or poor. This is not the situation in other countries of the world that Dangote mentioned.
You see, that is the exact situation. That is the fuel. That is what powers Nigerians, not just Nigeria's economy. That is what powers Nigerians. You need it for your generator. You need it for your car. You need it for your salon. You need it to pump water, to have water in your house, to pump water. You need it. That is the air that we breathe. We are so totally dependent, in spite of even the costs now. We are so totally, look at me. They use petrol to bring tomato, pepper to Lagos, to Ibadan, from Zamfara, from all those places, every blessed day. As I was coming this morning, I saw dozens of buses driving down with pepper and the tomato in them, fresh.
And interestingly, when those pepper and the tomatoes get to our houses, we'll still need petrol to, at least if you want to patronize the people that they use the grinder, their machines also use their engines make use of petrol.
And you even need petrol to preserve what you cook with it.
Interesting. That was why Donyo Kukwe said petrol is our oxygen in Nigeria.
Petrol is our oxygen. The Okada man, the micro man, the tricycle man, every office you go to, every home they have generators.
Which automatically means any hike in the pump price of that will have a negative adverse effect on all Nigerians. To be
everybody. My dear brother, I have 2 generators. Can you imagine? I'm in my home, not office, in my home. You know, it is so bad that we are totally dependent on it. But you see, Aliko Dangote is a businessman. When it says that they are paying for PMS in Saudi Arabia, what about the other aspects of their lives that are subsidized? Education is subsidized. Education is subsidized. Housing is subsidized. You understand? Education is highly subsidized. Everything subsidized. Even what they buy in shops are subsidized. So what are we talking about here? So if you pay for okay, let us pay for other things. Let them subsidize this one. Abi? I mean, we must enjoy some. I mean, why is government in place? Look, we provide security. We provide security. We pay for security. Everybody pays for security, neighborhood security. You pay to pump your water. You fix your road in some area.
And I remember when we were younger in civic education, which used to be social studies then, they were telling us, anything of the basic amenities, the things that be provided by government. Now you begin to wonder, all these basic things that are to be provided by the government, Nigerians are providing such by themselves now. And we pay tax. And we keep on paying tax.
And we keep on paying tax.
And we keep on paying, despite the fact that we are the ones providing all these things.
We keep on paying tax. Tax. And you see the people out there, those who are in informal businesses, they pay tax. They pay all sorts of tax. The drivers pay tax on the road. The drivers are taxed at every bus stop. Okada's are taxed. You know, we pay tax. Yet, you see, I think some of these things will lead us to a situation in which Nigerians will get wiser. You understand? Because this one has nothing to do with faith. It doesn't have to do with religion. And it doesn't have to do with ethnicity. And it does not even have to do with whether you are educated or you are not educated. It is affecting everybody. You read something out about unemployment going up by 5%. Abi? You see? And I do not see, believe you me, with the way these policies that are in place, I do not see respite for Nigerians. I do not.
All right. Now we have because in the course of the program, I'll be joined by the Assistant General Secretary of the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria, and who also doubles as a PRO, the Oyo State branch. That is the pharmacist Jacobs Oke, in any moment from now. But before I let you go, Comrade AJISOPE, let's talk about this Nnamdi Kanu's case now, which we read. Now, the judge presiding over that case decided to withdraw from it yesterday.
Yeah.
If I'm correct, Nnamdi Kanu has been in custody for more than 4 or 5 years now.
Yeah.
And there have been judgments telling the government to release him. Why is it still being kept this long? And does that have anything to do with the judge, that is Justice Nyako, withdrawing from that case, that he doesn't want to? Reminds me of the story in the Bible that was it Pontius Pilate when Jesus Christ was brought to him, and he said, bring me a bowl of water. I'm washing my hands off. It's just a repeat of what happened at the Pontius Pilate palace. What do you make out of that?
When you have a modicum of integrity and they're going to drag you publicly, you do what Murtala and Nyako, this gentleman, Justice Nyako, did. I mean, these are guys that have been on the bench for quite a while, and they're approaching the end of their career. Why must he be dragged over an issue like that? And sentiments and all sorts of everything will be thrown at him. Everything will be thrown at the man. And you see, actually, Nnamdi Kanu requested that the man recuse himself from that case. And any man with honor But the fact is that why are courts giving, but you see, it is the security people that go back and apprehend him and then charge him for another, you understand? And charge him for another offense. You see, I can understand the man jumped bail then, Abi. He jumped bail. And the administration of Muhammadu Buhari did what any sovereign nation should do. If a man jumps bail and it's a national security matter, you must make sure that you bring him back. He did that too with, that one was not even standing trial. That one did not even jump bail. They did that with Umaru Jiko too. But it failed because it was carried out in an environment where people were security conscious. It stunned me, but it was the national security issue, and it had to be done that way. But for God's sake, there must be obedience to court orders. And if we do not have obedience to court orders, that means we do not have the rule of the law. That means we have the rule of the jungle, and that is not good for us. If we say we're a democracy, and the guiding principle of democracy is the rule of law, why are we now operating like we're in the jungle? That is not acceptable. I mean, they can, if that guy is released, that guy can be tailed. You understand? He can be tailed 24/7. That life will even become unbearable for him.
That is the question I was going to ask you. That if he's been released, is there no way they can still be tailed?
They can tail him and keep him under permanent surveillance, and life will even be unbearable for him. You understand? So, but I'm sure they're going to take care of him where he is. But the fact that I don't know. Imagine for how long that guy has been in detention. Of course, if you see videos of some of the things that guy did, you understand? Inspecting guard of honor of an army. This is a man that does not even have any military training or whatever. You know, the things he did, it was actually a threat. It was actually a threat. And you see what is still going on in the Southeast currently, you understand? In terms of insecurity and threats to the peace of that region. You wonder if he's released, what is going to happen. But that does not preclude, the rule of law. The rule of law is the rule of law. It is a guiding principle of a democratic, any society, more so a democratic society. That we claim to be. We may not be a democratic society anyway, at least we are in a civil rule.
All right, Comrade AJISOPE, this is the much the time permits us to talk about today from the dailies, because today being the 25th day in the month of September 2024 happens to be the World Pharmacy Day, and to celebrate in commemoration of that particular day, we have a seasoned pharmacist in the studio joining me in a couple of minutes from now. So, Comrade AJISOPE, we'll do this again tomorrow morning.
By God's grace.
Thank you very much.
Have a wonderful, splendid day.
All right, thank you very much. It's still Solutions 93.9 FM. In a couple of minutes, I'll be speaking with a wonderful pharmacist right in the studio with me to talk more on the importance of the World Pharmacist Day and the role of pharmacists in the world. Stick around. I'll be right back. All right, still on Solutions 93.9 FM. I did tell you earlier on that today, 25th of September 2024, happens to be the World Pharmacist Day. And in commemoration of the day, we have members of the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria, or your state branch, joining us live in the studio this morning. I have the Assistant General Secretary of the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria, or your state branch, in the person of pharmacist Oke Jacobs. And I also have joined with him is pharmacist Ifeoluwa Adedeji. Beautiful morning to you, wonderful pharmacist in the studio with us this morning.
All right. Thank you very much, Solution FM, for hosting us this on this beautiful day. Once again, my name is Oke Jacob, and I'm the Assistant General Secretary of the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria, PSN Oyo State Branch, and we are here because today is our day. Today is our World Pharmacist Day. And we are here to sensitize the public of the role of a pharmacist.
Okay, I was going to ask you that. What are the major roles of a pharmacist rather?
Pharmacists, as it were, we play a crucial role in the healthcare system globally because we act as medical or medication experts, as the case may be, and we are also patient advocates, and we play a very key role in contributing to the public health care system. And as pharmacists, our mission basically is to ensuring safe and effective medication use universally.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, and sometimes when in recent times, we noticed that people engage in what I would like to call misuse of drugs. You see someone waking up, maybe having a headache, having some pains, and the next thing, okay, get me this, get me that, without the prescription of a pharmacist. What has been your effort in sensitizing the public on the dangers associated with such acts?
All right. Thank you for that question. You know, just like the theme of this year's World Pharmacist Day is titled "Pharmacist Meeting Global Health Needs."
Okay.
You know, especially in Nigeria here, one of the major health challenges we have globally is the misuse of drugs, specifically the antibiotics, which a lot of people, you know, keep using even without prescriptions, and that has led to antimicrobial resistance, as we may call it. Antimicrobial resistance is in the sense that the misuse of these antibiotics can actually make these drugs not to work.
And somebody once told me, sir, that even these little antibiotics that we see, some of them are not really so good with the body system. That it's not something we can just be using anyhow. How true is that?
Well, the person might not be telling you the wrong thing.
Okay.
You know, but of course, there is what we call selective toxicity, or there's what we call chemotherapy in the use of cancer. You know, antibiotics work that way. Just the way we need your key to, you know, go into your padlock and open the door. That's how these antibiotics need a specific organisms in the body to bind with. So when these antibiotics get to the body and there is nothing there to kill or to destroy or to work upon, it starts destroying the body cells. So that's the reason why, without a proper diagnosis, you know, either from your doctor or a test that is being carried out from the laboratory, it is not expected that you just go on your own and get these antibiotics. So we can say this antibiotics becomes lethal or fatal to the body system when used without any specific disease that these antibiotics is going to act upon. So as a result of that, it's going to cause whatever the person tells you.
Now, another issue I noticed over the years is that it seems that we don't have enough pharmacists in some of our hospitals these days. I think pharmacist Ifeolu Wadide, you should answer this next question. I noticed that there's, should I call it a shortage in the number of pharmacists? Because you get to some hospitals, you see that the roles the pharmacist should be playing is being played by either the doctor or the nurses. I've been to some hospitals whereby the doctor would, after running the test and everything, it will be the medical doctor himself that'll be writing out the drugs and the dosage, the usage, which we call usage. Is this the right thing?
All right. I would like to, excuse me, I would like to speak on what you said, pharmacist shortage. Or the thing is, the medical health team is a team.
Okay.
So, and there is a role of pharmacists in the hospital. There are pharmacists that are in the community pharmacy, like pharmacy you see around, like you walk into a pharmacy shop, so. There are community pharmacists. There are pharmacists that work in the industry. And there are pharmacists that work in the regulatory. So, depending on the arm of pharmacy that you work, there is a particular role. There are specific roles that you do. So, in the hospital setting, the ideal thing is a patient walks into the hospital, talks to the head records officer, meets with the doctor, the doctor diagnoses or tells the patient to run a test or whatsoever. Then the doctor will prescribe medicine. So the patient is meant to take the prescription, or depending on how the hospital runs, to send the prescription to the pharmacy. Then the pharmacist now dispense the medication to the patient.
Sorry, a doctor can actually prescribe drugs.
Yes, the work in the hospital setting. Okay. The work is to, although it's not limited to that, diagnose, to prescribe medicine.
But it's one of the functions of a medical doctor. I just want to get that straight.
Yeah, so in the hospital setting, when the medicine is now directed to the pharmacist is meant to hand over the medicines to the patient while counseling the patient. Even before dispensing the medicine, the pharmacist go through the prescription, ask some questions from the patient, whether there is drug-drug interaction, the drug, hope is the appropriate dosage. The pharmacist can talk to the doctor that, this particular dosage doesn't think is right for this patient, or what does the doctor, what's it trying to achieve? The doctor can talk to the pharmacist, they can agree on that prescription, that it is safe for the patient. So to speak, in that realm, although there is shortage of medical health officials, not pharmacists alone, but in the hospital setting, doctors are meant to prescribe medicines. Pharmacists are meant to dispense this medicine while counseling the patients on the drug safety.
Okay. Now, and another thing is, over the years, there has been a decline in pharmaceutical companies. When I talk about pharmaceutical companies, I mean industries that manufacture these drugs locally. Most of the drugs you see these days are the drugs you either see made in Indonesia, made in India, made in Malaysia. You hardly see, and I remember when we were growing up, there were things that you could see locally made drugs, pharmaceutical companies. What has led to the decline in this industries, pharmaceutical industries now over the years? All right,
there are still pharmaceutical industries in Nigeria.
I know there are, but there is a decline. That's what I'm saying.
The thing is,
in the number.
In fact, there are increments in pharmaceutical industry. Am I right, my colleague? Yes, there are increments. But the thing is, there are, medicines are large. There are plenty medicines, and depending on the economic situation of Nigeria, maybe the names that you were used to before, they are not around yet. And a lot goes into manufacturing of medicines. So if for a particular medicine, for as simple as paracetamol is not simple, but I'm just saying as basic as it is, that paracetamol tablet, about 10 or 15 ingredients goes into it, and all these ingredients, excipients, are not readily available in Nigeria. So the cost of importation, cost of even gathering the equipment needed, the technicians, the economic situation of Nigeria may have result in that. But so to speak, there are companies there are still pharmaceutical industries in Nigeria. They are producing medicines, even medicines that were not produced in the past. There are pharmaceutical industries that produce even as sterile medications such as high drop, infusion plants that are WHO standard, SON standard, like, international standards they are in Nigeria.
And drugs are very, very expensive now.
I think everything
drugs
is expensive. It's not drugs alone.
I mean, the percentage at which drugs are expensive is quite alarming. Which I know you agree to that too.
Yeah.
Are we going to say that because so much is put into it, talking about the ingredients, the raw materials, and everything that led? Because I remember, if you want to get some years, like 2-3 years back, if you want to get a little this bottle syrup of paracetamol syrup, I don't want to mention the brand now, for kids, maybe kids under 5, between 5 and 12, you could get as little as maybe 150. But now you get to the pharmacies now and you see 1,000, 2,500. You say, kilo shelle.
Well, to that, we want to say, of course, the exchange rate is actually a very big factor.
Exchange rate, no,
the exchange rate is actually a very big factor. Reason being that, like my colleague had rightly said, most of these ingredients that are being used to manufacture or producing these syrups are being imported, from different countries.
Okay.
Not Nigeria. And by the time you are looking at the landing cost, this cost, that cost, all these things will be factored into it. Of course, the pharmaceutical industry are not just there for pharmaceutical care alone, they are also there for profit. So as you are meeting needs, adding values, they are also trying to also make profits. So as a result of that, once all those costs have been put together, you come to realize that these things are not as cheap as we think they used to be anymore.
Now, before I ask you about your activities to commemorate the World Pharmacist Day, has there been anything your organization has been doing, talking about your state branch now, doing to sensitize the public on the dangers behind self-medication?
Oh, yes, sure. We go on live radios, I think now weekly.
Okay.
As a society, we go on live radio weekly, so we talk on different topics. Not just only the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria alone, even the Association of Community Pharmacists in Nigeria. So we go online, so we sensitize people, even at the pharmacy school level. The students still talk about the misuse of drugs, the adverse effects.
And sorry, another thing I noticed these days, I've seen drugs being displayed on trays in markets in this Ibadan. I saw one on Saturday around Mokola, drugs on trays. And some people are going there to patronize. I mean, what are you doing to open the eyes of the public to the dangers behind all this?
Well, we've been talking, to the general public, but I know we can still do better.
Okay.
Because a wide coverage of information is actually very germane in this context for us to meet up with these people. That's why the rural healthcare workers are key, in the healthcare systems. So what we are trying to do is to see, because one of the things, even in the Association of Community Pharmacists in Nigeria, so one of their core goal is to see how they can plant pharmacy stores, in rural areas, core rural areas, where we will need to educate these people, because educating people about drug use is one of our major focus, aside from dispensing drug. So we are planting pharmacy stores in rural areas. So see how we can sensitize these people, and also to work hand in hand with NAFDAC to see how they can also curb this menace of selling drugs on trays. Even myself, at a point, I confronted a woman you know, at Agbenu was hawking drug. Hawking drug, you know. These people, there are a lot of factors that denature the potency of these drugs. So it is actually something that we as pharmacists we must be in a hurry to sweep these people off the market.
And I think a lot of sensitization are taking place.
Yes.
Like for I know that for the past, if you consider maybe if you just opposed 5 years ago and now, there is a lot of information going around, and people are beginning to understand that getting their medicines from a registered community pharmacy is the right thing to do. Yeah. And if people don't patronize them again, with time, they would close shop. They will pack up. So I think that people should know that if you want to get your medicines, there's nothing like akapo. If you if you buy akapo, you are buying, you are being penny wise, pound foolish. If you need, go to the pharmacy. Talk to the pharmacy, even if you are not as boxed up as you know, to get those medicines. You can talk to the pharmacy and, you know, give you other options, and that are from qualified pharmacists. You know,
they are quite cheaper.
They are quite cheaper, and you know, you're going to get quality for what you are getting. Not that you are just trying to, you know, go barung pelukan. You understand what I'm saying? So, trying to see the pharmacist, go to the pharmacy store, whatever, speak to the pharmacist. And I think there is a lot of improvements, sincerely. There's a lot of improvements. Even if people that are illiterate, even people that maybe like that are very illiterate, they will say, the pharmacist, I'm going to my pharmacist. Let me go and tell them what they do. And I think there is difference. If our people don't patronize them, they will not have choice than to close shop and do the right things, to do the right thing correctly. All
right, now, as we wrap up, what are the activities lined up for the celebration of the World Pharmacist today?
We have a lot. For instance, we are here.
Okay.
You know, at Solution FM. You know, we have some of our colleagues who are in secondary schools.
Okay.
St. Hans School,
beautiful.
Career Talk.
Beautiful.
So we have
Career Talk,
and we have some people who will be with NAFDAC today.
Okay.
You know, they are also talking about
drug abuse.
Yes. Fake drug production, because we have a lot of fake drugs being produced. So NAFDAC is also there. So some of us are also there, and you know, so we've been in a lot of places like that. Yeah.
All right.
Talking about
medicine, appropriate medicine use.
All right. In the area of sensitizing the public, Solutions FM will be readily available to partner with you anytime you want us to do more on that. So I would like to say a big thank you to you, pharmacist Oke Jacobs, the Assistant General Secretary of the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria, or your state branch, and pharmacist Ifeoluwa Adedeji. It's a nice thing to have you in the studio this morning, and I'm wishing you a very wonderful celebration.
Thank you very much. We are also wishing our colleagues out there happy World Pharmacist Day.
Okay, they are listening though. All right, that's the wrap on the program this morning. I'll be back again tomorrow morning for a fresh edition of the program. My name is Adedamola LAFENWA. Wishing every one of us a very fruitful day. Good morning.
Hey.